Welcome into the crypto bunker. I know it's been a while since I recorded a video, so I wanted to share my thoughts on some of these markets. The reason I'm here is to try to help people. No other real reason for it. And this is kind of a confusing time in the markets. A little bit of no man's land, I would call it. And this is just an example, but if you look at the Ethereum chart here, this is the CME futures contract. And what we can see is that essentially this acted as support, which I had said for a long time. Well, not a long time, but weeks, basically, that we would have to fill this gap because remember, this gapped up in the summer. And now we've filled it. We've come back above. We made a lower high, went below it. And I mean, it's hard to say. We're sort of right at it right now. I've always was saying 1280, right? Or 1280. And so is this a point where we're now coming back up and testing something that was support and is now resistance? And then we come down for a double bottom around 700, 800. If we look at the chart here, this is on a log scale. So I did want to show that if we look back and we go from this high here in 2015 of $1, we connect this bottom and we connect this, it's sort of right at that point. And I just wanted to look at this because, I mean, what if this was just one large wedge, sort of a downward wedge, and this was the bull long-term flag? What would happen is we would if we broke out, eventually coming up to around 15 to 17K, that's probably a decent target for the next cycle if you believe that crypto will thrive, which I still do believe. I know that I've wavered on my belief here and there, but I still hold my ETH, and I'm pretty much just going to hold it for a long time because if you let go of your bags and you sell and it goes up to 15K and you don't have any, you're really going to regret it. You're really going to be upset, and then you're going to have to buy down here at 4,000 or something, where the old all-time high was. If that plays out. Now, if it goes to 300 and just goes sideways for 10 years, then that's another scenario. I'm not ruling that out either. But what I'm trying to say is that on the long-term time frame, we are at the bottom of this logarithmic channel, is what they call it. Now, again, could we come down to 700, kind of like a double bottom, 600-ish? Yeah, we definitely could, and that's the risk. But in terms of the upside is definitely greater than the downside at this point in the cycle. If we look at the past cycles, we're probably somewhere around this region. And, I wouldn't be surprised to see a rally up to around 2,500 or so. If we look at the weekly averages, this came right up to the 150, and the 150 now is around 2,400. So if we did come up throughout the summer, something like that next summer, I wouldn't be surprised to see like 2,400, 2,300, something like that, maybe 2,000, and then come back down for a double bottom scenario. Let's see if I have that drawn out, but I can draw that out here in terms of the wedge that we might be forming here. If we look at it like that, and then we have this sort of wedge like this, something like that. We take it off log scale. and we bring it up, we could say maybe this goes out a little bit farther. It probably goes out to 2024. And then we look, and that's the Bitcoin halving is, around this time. So it's a kind of like could play out the same way as it has in past cycles where it goes up. Again, look, see where that wedge, it's perfectly going to be in line with the moving averages. Then it comes back down, maybe goes back down to this level at 1280, and then it sort of, pops around, comes back down, wedges up, and then it tests, and then, something like that, where it really gets going. So, this is obviously like a few years to wait, a year and a half at this point till the halving. It's not that long. And, I just think that smart contracts in the future, it's so obvious to me that they're going to be used. I mean, we're going to have like digital identity. If they try to bring in a central bank digital currency, they're going to have to integrate it with these networks. These networks aren't going away. People aren't going to be happy if they just decide to ban everything, essentially. That would be like if we were in communist China, and we're not. And I don't think people are going to stand for it. They haven't, we've been through a lot the past couple of years. And I don't really think that it's going to happen. I actually think what's going to happen is the opposite. I think that they're going to integrate with these networks at a high level, and they're going to encourage innovation. And it's going to catch some people by surprise because they think that we're in communist China. But what they don't understand is that they want people to adopt the central bank digital currency. They want people to adopt the blockchain, which in my opinion might not be the best thing for people in terms of where we're headed as a race, or a human race, essentially, for this like integration with tech sort of artificial intelligence type of world. But it's probably where we're headed, and that's just kind of how technology and innovation goes. Just because we don't have to participate for now, hopefully, and then it doesn't mean that we can't own the assets, because again, they're decentralized on chain. So we're going to be able to own these things and profit, I guess, off of that. So again, this is what I think is going to happen with Ethereum. We can look at Bitcoin. I mean, again, this is just one of those like things I drew out. Like, what if this is one big wedge? I mean, it is kind of like interesting how that has been support pretty much that whole line. See how many touches we have here, obviously those, and then we have this kind of wedge forming. And that would take us, if we broke the wedge, which again, I don't think this is the scenario that's playing out, but it'd be like 100,000. I do think there's a place for Bitcoin for the hardcore people who are looking to not participate in the central bank digital currency. Bitcoin is more of an alternate to the central bank digital currency, in my opinion. Then obviously Ethereum is more like smart contracts, which a lot of like legal things are going to go through. You already have, you see Ticketmaster, there's going to be tickets on the blockchain, NFTs, things like that. A lot of integration with digital identity and that nature, being able to verify that it's actually a human and not artificial intelligence, things like that. Those are all going to be, part of the blockchain. And that's really has nothing to do with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, again, is kind of this alternate to the central bank digital currency. It can't be printed, it can't be changed, and it stores, this energy used to mine it. But again, we're below the 200-week moving average, which essentially has never happened besides here. So it's, you would think, a good time to accumulate. Obviously, none of what I say is financial advice. These may or may not be unregistered securities. Things like that regulation could go against us. All of that. And then another one, a couple that I've been looking at and accumulating myself is Polkadot. If you look at it on a log scale, It's something that, if we just kind of measure out these bottoms here and then we go to this, that's kind of how we bottomed out. And if you look at the volume as well on these, um, you can see this is kind of a capitulation volume, and it got picked up. I mean, it hasn't gone lower than 499. So, I mean, I just think that essentially this is like the bottom of a range, and I think that's, same thing could happen here where we rally up to, around 14, maybe even 19 at the most, and then we come back down in this area, and then we again wedge it out. And then we break out, and next target would be around 100 to 150 dollars, and so you have like 20 to 25x upside from here, and you probably have 50% downside at the most. Not financial advice, but I mean, you have over $3 billion of dot locked and staked, and then you have like the parachains that are staked. So, in general, right now the most it could go to is like 350 probably, which isn't even 50%. So, I just think that Polkadot has, I mean, technically the most regulatory safety without, besides Bitcoin, I think. They've been working with the SEC for 3 years. They have shown that that they are now considered software in their eyes. I don't think the SEC has approved this technically. But again, Kusama is sort of the younger brother or whatever of Polkadot. It was actually built before Polkadot, or went live before Polkadot. It's essentially just a relay chain or a side, like a test net for Polkadot, but it's kind of become its own network because it runs similarly, and it's very just low market cap. So it's kind of a crazy upside play on the Polkadot ecosystem, which again I think would top out around 2,000 with targets for 2025, which is where I think again the next cycle would bring us for some of these to top out, just like they did in 2021. It's usually every 4 years. So again, these are just ideas. This is a very dangerous sort of time to invest. So only invest money that you're willing to lose, all of it basically. But again, I just think that the upside is greater. It's a asymmetric risk at the bottom of these log channels. Again, this is in log, and I mean, you just look at the market cap on this thing, and it just doesn't really make sense. It's like maybe $250 million. Again, up here would be like 20 billion. So the upside it's pretty great for this one. Almost 100x. Obviously, that would be, only if Polkadot succeeded. But like I said, I think Polkadot has the most development activity. I don't know if people have seen this. It has the most developers that are pledging, different code to GitHub. Also, Cosmos actually is a second in that. So I think development activity in the Polkadot ecosystem is really impressive. And that's usually where you want to invest, is where the developers are going. So that's kind of my thesis for the long-term vision of Polkadot. We have Gavin Wood, who helped create Ethereum, who's dedicating himself even more to the blockchain itself. He's stepping down as the CEO of Parity Technologies, which again, I think is a good thing. He can focus more on creating cool new things for the Polkadot ecosystem. And, they do have the Web3 Foundation and Parity Technologies, which supports development activity on Kusama and Polkadot. And I really think that that's kind of a good thing. I mean, these people are dedicated businesses who have raised money and who are just trying to spread the Polkadot ecosystem and Web3 ecosystem. And I think that Polkadot sort of has that Web3 brand on lock. Now, does that mean that the parachains and things like that have been successful? Not really. That's the thing, is they haven't. But I think that Polkadot is such a long-term play. You can also stake on Nova Wallet for like 16% restaking rewards. So check out Nova Wallet. Again, not financial advice, not any type of advice, but that's what I'm using right now. And it's kind of cool to stake on chain. And you need like 212 dot to actually stake. But again, I think Polkadot is like this is sort of a long-term view on the space in general. I do think that eventually, in my opinion, it will be, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Polkadot top three coins. And so I think that it's already like I called this, as you guys hopefully remember or know, but I called the Avalanche top in the fall of last year, and I said Polkadot, and Polkadot was behind by billions and billions of dollars, probably 10 to 15 billion it was behind. And I said Polkadot will outperform Avalanche and Solana in the bear market. And now if we look at coin market cap, it is above those two. And it wasn't even close to Solana, but I said, I think it was like 30 billion or something behind Solana. And I said, this will outperform them. And look at it now. Obviously, Matic is another one I've talked about. I'm not as bullish because I just think the network itself isn't the best, so that I've experienced using it. So I've sort of ditched that theory, although I do think it's one of the leading layer twos for Ethereum, which is a big deal. So I do think it's a good, thing. Excuse me, but look, Polkadot's number 11, and all these coins, Cardano, Dogecoin, XRP, BNB, they're all sort of like scams, essentially. Tether, Binance USD, these are all things that could be taken out, and Polkadot could move up. And we even see Litecoin now ahead because it's probably considered a commodity in regulatory terms. And so look at Solana, and then we have Avalanche down here at 4 billion and 5 billion, and we have obviously 6 billion for Polkadot. So yeah, I mean, those are the things I wanted to cover. We can cover quickly GDX, gold mining, gold. I do think we're at the top of the channel here, and usually you would sell. I do think this is a sell, and I think it's a pick back up around this level of 25, 26, wherever this 20-week moving average is, because it's coming up. So we can see we just kind of need to retest and make a higher low here. Same with gold, same with silver. I'm not sure I'd pick those up at all. That to me looks like a topping candle. And I think we're going to come back down and test again this 20-week, which will probably be around 2050, 2080. That's right around the 200-week as well. Usually you'll see with silver, the 20-week, when it crosses the 200, it'll sort of bottom around that range. So look for it in the next couple months, like around December, January, to sort of come back down and test that level. It could be right away. And then, yeah, I mean, what happened in 08 is what I expect. And as we can see, when the 20-week was coming up and it crossed the 200, see how this is exactly the same playing out right now. It hit the 150, it came back down, it tested both of these at the same time as they crossed, and then that's all she wrote. We had bam, 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 and then we just shoom. So that's what I think we're going to see here. If we look at gold, I do think it's the same type of thing. It's sort of at the top of the range. It has two moving averages to overcome, and I think it's going to come back down to this range, probably around 1700 or so. And I'm, so I am taking some profits up here. I was dollar cost averaging down here. I am taking some profits, and I do think we're going to have a reversal. Not a lot of people are expecting it. Everyone always gets too bullish on gold and silver, but they're slow moving. They have to retest. So I do think that's pretty good, but again, not financial advice. So hopefully you guys got something out of the video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and have a great rest of your day.